VYGAVRIL. VYGAVRIL was a Haradrim woman from the near Harad province. She was born into one of the noble houses, one with long tradition, going far back before the Númenóreans began their colonization of these lands. The coming of the high men from the west changed the fortunes of the local people, however. The newcomers began at first slowly, then more and more drastically, using the colonized lands to their own profit. With the coming of settlers, were the original inhabitants pushed into minor roles, sometimes even so far as becoming slaves. This also had a side effect on their religion, with many changing to Morgothism, meaning worshipping Morgoth, which came with some of their new Númenor overlords, or finding hope and refuge in turning to Sauron as their hope of salvation from their miserable fate. Needless to say, the Kingsman fraction of Númenóreans was always the strongest in the province of Near Harad and the port city of Umbar itself. With the fall of Númenor and establishment of the realms in exile, some kind of calming down occurred. Near Harad was ruled from Gondor, with Umbar and Pelargir being two main bases of Gondorian sea power, military as well as merchant. Many of the Dúnedain of the realm even began mixing with the local people. This happened also in the house of VYGAVRIL, with some of the Númenóreans marrying girls from her noble house. And so VYGAVRIL inherited a part of the high blood of the Dúnedain. Then there came the civil war in Gondor, with some southern nobles, under leadership of Castamir, rebelling against the king, beating him in battle at first, then surrounding and conquering the capital Osgiliath, capturing king's eldest son and executing him. Osgiliath was destroyed in the process, and the main palantir stored there was lost. After 10 years, the king, with reinforcements from the northern provinces, returned. The rule of Castamir was disliked among the people of Anórien, and they flocked to the king's banner. Castamir was beaten and killed in battle, but his forces were able to fortify themselves in Pelargir, which functioned as the new capital when Osgiliath was ruined in the previous campaign. The siege of Pelargir followed. As situation became untenable, the rebels boarded the Gondorian fleet and sailed south to Umbar and the neighboring provinces. Castamir's wife, Mirabet, escaped the kinstrife. She bore Castamir's only daughter, Castariel, on the voyage to Umbar. Castahar, their eldest son, became a leading figure in the newly established Corsair state. It was built on a strict caste system, with poor-blooded Númenóreans at the top, the ones with mixed blood a step lower, original nobility of lesser men being degraded to third level, and common peoples only a little more than slaves. His grandsons, led by Castamane, continued the Corsair state, but at the time of his great-grandsons, Angamate and Sangahwando, the Castamiri dynasty had already been forced to intermarry with near Haradian nobility to be able to withstand Gondorian pressure, despite the Castamiri's original ideology of Númenórean supremacy. One of the local families with whom the Black Númenóreans intermingled was the family of VYGAVRIL. One of her relatives married Prince Sangavando. Thus was VYGAVRIL able to interfere with the politics of Umbar. She supported the rebellious anti-Sauronite faction, being also supportive to peace with Gondor and refusing the influence of the Dark Lord. As a mere woman, she could not do much herself, but with a steady hand and a continuous and patient approach, she was able to increase the support for her politics. To beef up her influence, was VYGAVRIL able to get the youngest of her 9 granddaughters married to the Haradan Prince Ivik of Harvan, and thus, when the Castamirian rule ended, with Castamir's last direct descendants killed in a Gondorian attack, she had her family well positioned with the subsequent rulers of the Corsairs of Umbar, a Haruzza dynasty, which had only remote blood relationship to the Castamiri clan and to the royal family of Gondor. VYGAVRIL died of old age, without ever seeing all her efforts for peace with the West and abandoning the Dark Lord succeed. It may be noted that had her granddaughters continued in her mission, the War of the Ring could have looked a little bit different, at least in the south. VYGAVRIL was buried in a family tomb in her favorite sea green dress, emblazoned with her family pentagonal symbol. If you liked the video, please give it a thumb up and consider subscribing to the channel if you are not already, as each takes just a second to do and will be very much appreciated. See you next time.